Yo, Confederates! So welcome back to the channel, Culture Confederacy here. It's Wednesday night. Happy Wednesday, everybody, or Hump Day as they call it. And there's a lot to get to in this video. So after this Trump assassination attempt, Fox News has gone out there. They've talked to all these different Americans from across the land, asking them if they think the United States is united or divided. So I want to share with you this article, a quote by Benjamin Franklin, and talk about what's going on in Chicago with this George Washington statue, what happened recently in Atlanta. So we'll just kind of go all over the place here. It's in no particular order. But there's a theme here. And we'll get to that in a moment. So over at Fox News, this is the title of the article. By the way, thank you for watching, subscribing, being a part of this thing called the Culture Confederacy, where there are no fancy graphics, epic soundtracks, pretty boy camera angles. It's you, me, my smartphone, the news of the day, as we preserve great art, music, history, and culture, including American history, American culture. The good and the bad. Says here, Americans react to the assassination attempt on Trump. Our country is in a terribly sad state. Well, the dirty little secret, Fox News, is that the United States has always been in a sad state. Because the Northeast is different from the South, as the South is different from the West, or the Midwest. Give you an example here. Where I live, it's kind of a bubble, because we have people that come up here from Kansas or Oklahoma, come here from Nebraska, come down from North Dakota, wherever. So we're kind of in this bubble. They go back and forth for work or what have you. And I'm sure that's the same if you go to New York State. You travel from New York State to Pennsylvania to New Jersey to Rhode Island. If you're out west, you go from California to Nevada to Oregon. Seems like we do things in clusters. Now, this is an article. Boy, there's a lot of people involved in this article here. So I guess they all went out and did these interviews. Kendall Tietz, last name Tietz, Nicholas Lenham, Amanda Capelli, Joshua Q. Nelson, Kira Matone, or is it Matone, Gabriel Hayes. That's a lot of people to be working on one article. People across the country express shock over the assassination attempt against Trump. You think? When this thing happened on live TV? So at any rate, the attempted assassination of President Trump shocked Americans on both sides of the aisle, with many seeing the close call as a time to reflect on the state of the nation and turn down the temperature of political rhetoric. Well, I don't think it's time to turn down the political rhetoric. I think it's time to turn it up. More debate is healthy, besides Republican and Democrat. You know, you got the RNC convention happening this week. And I've seen bits and pieces of it. Now, I'm all for having a rally, rallying against the other side, rallying for your candidate. But the idea that you just have two parties running everything, pardon me, let me take a sip of my coffee here, that just creates a problem, because that limits the amount of voices in the fray here. Goes on to say, Fox News Digital spoke to Americans in New York City, Detroit, Washington, D.C., and Milwaukee about the reaction to what happened, the way Trump handled the moment while under fire, and their predictions about what the failed assassination means for the country. Tom in Milwaukee told Fox News Digital that it is really, really a sad thing that the country has gotten to the point where somebody has to take a shot at the former president. Newsflash, there's always been political violence. Go back to the 1770s. Go back to the 1850s, 1860s. All throughout history, there's always been political violence, not just in the United States. Well, he said he won't be voting for Trump in November. He was very sorry to see it happen and would keep the former president in his prayers. See, there's a little bit of unity there. Quote, I hope that the Republicans have a great convention here, he said on of the Republican National Convention, taking place in Milwaukee this week. He also noted Trump had indicated he would be taking a softer tone in his political rhetoric, which we should all follow. As I said, ramp up the rhetoric. More voices in the fray is better. You see, I do the opposite of what you're supposed to do on YouTube. You're supposed to be politically correct. You're supposed to be nice. Now, I'm a really nice guy in real life. I really am. But I'm also a realist. John from Milwaukee also described the weekend's assassination attempt by 20-year-old Pennsylvania native Thomas Matthew Crooks as a sad moment where violence came to fruition based on the way Trump has been discussed since 2015. Now, that's true. That's true. You got one side saying that the other side is Hitler, and this is a result of that. But a lot of the rhetoric that has been pushed out there, and some people are reacting to it, he said, is not surprising, but it is a sad moment. So they talked to Luke from New York City, who also described it as a very sad, very tragic situation that people in the country are acting out violently over politics. But it's absolutely terrible that our country is so divided. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Republican. I'm on the far, far left. But despite that, of course, violence is always terrible. He added, our country is in a terribly sad state. It's embarrassing to be an American right now, to be honest with you. I think this is a great time to be American. The fact that you have this happen shows what's wrong with the United States. This two-party system. Maybe you people in the media, those out there, I can't even talk tonight. Those out there, those of you out there, that's what I'm trying to say. Those of you out there being sob sisters should stop sobbing here and say, okay, wait a minute. We have disagreements. Why do we have disagreements? Because no two regions of the United States are the same. People have different political, religious, different philosophical ideas. That's what creates great art, great music, great books, novels, films. Aaron from Birmingham, Michigan, I didn't know there was a Birmingham, Michigan, told Fox News Digital that unfortunately the attempt on Trump's life is a reflection of the times. Where we have mentally ill people, we have people who are ramped up because of all the rhetoric around Trump, he said. When you call Trump Hitler dozens or hundreds of times to a lot of people. Now, have you seen the Lincoln Project? I think it's called the Lincoln Project. They have, they have a video out there. Boy, my throat's giving me fits tonight. They have a video out there comparing Trump to Hitler. If he gets reelected, it's going to be like Hitler all over again. Really now? Being somebody of German descent, I don't think so. It would seem logical to get rid of somebody like Hitler before he does all this damage. And then we've got a picture here of Trump with the bloody ear, blood on his cheek here. So that's at Fox News, but to save time here, let's go to this article from Benjamin Franklin. So Benjamin Franklin was very influential in getting the Constitutional Convention going. A lot of people forget that, but he was. And he shared his sentiments about the U.S. Constitution. Now, he had this speech prepared that was going to be addressed to George Washington, who, of course, was from Virginia. But he also was trying to address people like Elbridge Gerry, George, I can't remember his name, Randolph from Massachusetts, George Mason, Virginia. In wanted them to abandon their opposition to the Constitution. So he says this, quote, I confess that there are several parts of this Constitution which I do not at present approve, but I am not sure I shall never approve them. For having lived long, I have experienced many instances of being obliged by better information or fuller consideration to change opinions even on important subjects which I once thought right, but found to be otherwise. It is therefore that the older I grow, the more apt I am to doubt my own judgment and to pay more respect to the judgment of others. Goes on to say in these statements, sir, I agree to this Constitution with all its faults, if they are such, because I think a general government necessary for us, and there is no form of government, but what may be a blessing to the people if well administered. That's a key. For government to be efficient, to be effective, it has to be well administered. And believe further that it is likely to be well administered for a course of years and can only end in despotism, as other forms have done before it, when the people shall become so corrupted as to need despotic government. I'm sorry, despotism, not despotism. Blah, blah, blah. A lot of people are going to correct me in the comments section below. You said despotism, it's despotism. So even Benjamin Franklin had his doubts about the Constitution. The whole purpose of the Constitution was to have this agreement between the states. It's really an agreement between the states. Create the federal government to work on the state's behalf, to settle disputes, to unite on things such as trade, on preserving these rights that they felt the king was violating. So I thought I'd share this with you. And then in Chicago, you have the mayor of Chicago, who was planning to take down this George Washington statue. Big uproar over this. So he's had an about face, and he's going to keep the statue up. See, he thought it was all going to just end with Confederate monuments. Those evil Confederates. Then you have a guy in Atlanta. Here's one for you. This is at USA Today. A guy in Atlanta is facing a trespassing charge after authorities said he drove nearly 3 hours to South Carolina to vandalize a Confederate battle flag. Now, this is the same huge Confederate battle flag off of I-85, Interstate 85. So, when you got people out here with different opinions, people that are so hell-bent on driving 3 hours to take down a Confederate battle flag, you have people in Chicago wanting to take down a Washington statue, then they do an about face. Maybe it's time we take a step back and say, okay, maybe we don't all agree on X, Y, or Z. So maybe it's best that, in certain respects, we go our separate ways. But we can still be united on other things. So I thought I'd share this with you today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. You can follow me at Instagram, #JasonComposes, because I write music in my spare time. Or go to X, Culture Confederacy at CultureConfed1 on X. This is the Culture Confederacy saying peace out, stay safe, everybody. God bless us, in the United States. It's another one-take video. Thanks for being with me. And you know how we do it here. No pretty boy camera angles, fancy graphics, epic soundtracks that zoom in my smartphone, and this mission to preserve great art, music, and history, culture, all that fun stuff as we talk about the news of the day. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.